KP. We're coming to you live from Sycamore Crossing. We do know it's 8:07. We apologize for the delay this morning. We're here. We have Tupelo tea right behind us. We're going to wait for Katie's choice. Katie's pick. She picks every Friday, 10 o'clock. I go in there and Katie just surprises me with something to Tupelo tea. Absolutely love it. Have the Broken Bull right here behind me and New Blue Home and Gift. And we're at Sycamore Crossing in downtown Blue Ridge. Again, I'm your host, BKP. Across the street, we have Jody Nicholson, Town and Country Remax, Jody Nicholson. And what a beautiful September morning. Lonnie, I couldn't ask for anything better than this beautiful September morning, right? I mean, we were up here. It was a hot summer. It's been a hot summer. Summer's not over, correct? Right?
You got 6 days.
6 days. So it has been a hot summer all across the South and most of the United States. But we have been up here in July and August when it was pretty rough at 8 o'clock in the morning, wasn't it, Lonnie? So it is a beautiful September weekend in Blue Ridge and the perfect weather for nothing else. None other than the Blues and Barbecue. You want to come out this weekend, tomorrow, all day here, Blues and Barbecue. But today, we're going to be talking about the Rotary Blues Train, okay? Yes, the train, you know, when you're watching and listening, you hear our train whistle here in beautiful downtown Blue Ridge. And today is the Rotary Blues Train. We're going to be talking about that in a minute. So enjoy the show. Set back. You're watching FYNTV.com, and I'm your host, BKP. Everything running well, Lonnie? Okay. We're just running a minute behind, so we're just double checking, making sure everything's running well. Now, if you have been watching this show for quite some time, we have been in the front of the campaign, the presidential campaign, keeping an eye on it. And throughout August, after the convention, and it was over for Trump, and could he pivot? I mean, it seems like years ago that we were discussing whether he could pivot, whether he could start getting into discussing policy, whether he could start giving speeches that actually pertain to something he was going to do as president. You remember, it seems like it was just forever ago, ever? Say ever, right? Is that what they say, Lonnie? Ever? Lonnie over here singing it. But it seems like it was so long ago we were discussing that, right? Now, we are in September, and the polls are all showing that Hillary has been the wind beneath Donald's wings, okay? I've been waiting to use that one. And it looks like September, all the polling data is showing in the battleground states and nationally that Trump is in the lead, surging and surpassing Hillary Clinton. So that being said, let me give you a little general about the campaign. We're going to have a couple people come in here later in the morning. We're going to discuss the campaign, so you're going to want to stay with us, FYNTV.com. And don't forget, always on Friday, who's the star of the show, Lonnie, on Friday? Pet of the Week. Not you, Lonnie, Pet of the Week, okay? Not even Rena, not even myself. But the Blue Ridge, the Humane Society of Blue Ridge comes down, and we have Pet of the Week, so that's the star of the show every Friday. I'll always look forward to that. Now, Hillary Clinton was back on the campaign trail. She had the James Brown, I Feel Good music, okay? And I heard on a station this morning as I was getting ready to leave the house that, if memory serves me right, James Brown died from pneumonia. Look it up, Lon. I mean, no, I'm serious. I'm not joking. That's what I heard leaving is James Brown. This is true. Look it up and help me. This is true. Did James Brown have pneumonia? Is that the cause of death or whatever? So that's what I hear. I was going to look it up. So she goes to UNCG, Greensboro, okay? And she goes into a small, very small auditorium there, gymnasium type area at UNCG. They say there's about 300 people. And the music is I Feel Good by James Brown. Now, you know, she came out very slow. Make sure she can navigate all the steps. So we're not going to critique that. That's not what's important. Is it true, Lonnie? You're looking it up. What does it say? James Brown died of pneumonia? Lonnie, you're laughing. You are cracking up. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's Lonnie looking at you. It's cracking up. Yeah, James Brown died of pneumonia. I don't think I would be playing. I feel good. That's good, isn't it, Lonnie? I was like, who thought this out, right? Somebody's getting fired today. Somebody gets fired today in the campaign. Okay. I want to explain this to you. I want to explain this to you as far as her campaign is concerned, where it stands. Now, first of all, the Hillary Clinton campaign is panic in Brooklyn. I told you that. I told you months ago, if you'd been watching the show, and if you have been, I told you months ago that he would have to run, Donald Trump, against Barack Obama. I said he would have to run. Donald Trump would have to run against Barack Obama because he could not run against Hillary, because the approval ratings, Hillary cannot run for president. So she has Michelle Obama, Tim Kaine, her husband, Barack Obama. Bernie Sanders is hitting the trail today. Pocahontas is hitting the trail today. Elizabeth Warren. They're all hitting the trail, all right, because Hillary cannot be the one that you're trying to elect, okay? Actually, what they are doing is what they're doing now is trying to divert the campaign actually away from her and the attention from her on everybody else. So, that being said, okay, Hillary Clinton cannot run, and the campaign is in panic mode. So, also, what did I tell you 2 weeks ago? They will have to go with conspiracy theory, okay? That is exactly what they will have to go with, and that's where they're at now. They will go everywhere and start claiming conspiracy. Donald Trump is a birther. Donald Trump is a race. It's all going to be conspiracy now. We heard this week from Pennsylvania, a report we got from Pennsylvania, that actually the deplorable comment was a setup, and the deplorable comment was on purpose, and that's what they're going to be doing in the next couple weeks, starting yesterday with Hillary Clinton back on the trail. They're going to be discussing how, okay, they're going to be discussing how the deplorables are the fringe with the conspiracy theory, okay? That's all going to be discussed, and they're going to start trying to separate everybody and make everybody that's running or going to vote for Donald Trump is out there with tinfoil hats, okay? That's what's coming up, all right? That's being said. Now, they're in panic. The campaign's in panic. That's just the bottom line. So what they're doing now, and let's just talk about, because it's Friday night high school football all over the place in the United States. So let's just talk about the panic they're in. Now, when you run a football game, you want to run a balanced offense with a running game, and you want to run a balanced offense with a passing game, and that's how you want to stick to the game plan. There's nothing worse than when you have to start throwing the Hail Mary passes this early in the game. So if you're looking at stats tomorrow morning and you have a quarterback that's thrown 400 yards and you still lose the game, that's because the coach and the team got diverted from their game plan. They got behind, and the only thing they could start doing is airing out the ball. Watch the Clinton campaign. They're starting to air out the ball, throw anything in the air they can to see if it sticks. It's desperation time. Trump shows up for the debate in 2 weeks and just reads the phone book, and he's okay. I'm serious. There you go. I'm going to take a break. We're going to come back. It's going to be time to with our sponsored segment from the Georgia Cancer Specialist, our segment with Ask Dr. Whaley, but Dr. Whaley's not here. We have a surprise guest, so you're going to want to tune back in right after these brief messages. I'm your host, BKP, Sycamore Crossing, beautiful downtown Blue Ridge on a September morning. We're also going to be talking about the Blues Train and Blues and Barbecue this weekend. Lonnie, take us to break. And we're back. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from beautiful downtown Blue Ridge. I'm just going through the internet, browsing through here to see what is going on in the conspiracy world that I have missed. CNN is doing a story on Trump supporters in Pennsylvania. They will be in Monroe County on Saturday and we would like some Trump supporters to come up and be a part of the story. 10 a.m. in Stroudsburg, PA. That was from Lee Stover. She has been on the show. CNN's going to come up and do a story in PA. Folks, we're going to be on here at 9 o'clock. We're going to get our regular guest in here. We're going to have Bruce and Rick in here. And I asked them yesterday, I especially asked Rick, to tell me, talking here. All right. You did have me on the other mic? Lonnie, are you pointing out something I may have done wrong?
I think you're the one talking about it.
I think it's your responsibility to say check your mic before we go back.
What did I just say?
I think it's your responsibility. Sorry, folks. I hate you had to see that, and I'm so loud here in town I woke everybody up. I'm just joking around. I'm the one that always forgets to unmute my mic. Hey, 9 o'clock, I asked Rick and Bruce, what do they think the Democrats are going to do now? Hillary's going to do now. And I do think this. I heard this coming out of the House. If you just joined us, I heard this coming out of the House this morning, and I just enjoyed it so much. Hillary goes to Greensboro, North Carolina, UNC Greensboro. And she goes in there, and there's only 300 people. First of all, what was the screening like? Now, this lady, as of Friday, has pneumonia. So you really want to be in there. I mean, I'm thinking I would be in there with a surgical mask on and the rubber gloves and everything. I would be nervous if I had pneumonia. I mean, if I had pneumonia, I would be nervous and to be out there in a crowd. But, you know, she has to get back on the campaign trail. So she has to get back on the campaign trail, and so I would be nervous. But she's out there. What was it like to try to get into this event? What was the screening like? Shaking hands? I mean, did they make everybody? This is not a joke. Did they make everybody use the hand sanitizer, everything before they came in? Now they had it in a small room to where all the cheering sounded like there was 30,000 people, but we know there was about 300. Okay. And they had it in a small room with about 300. Again, the cheering made it sound like 30,000. But she comes in, as silly as this sounds, Lonnie and I are cracking up. Who's getting fired over this? She comes into James Brown, I feel good. This is what she comes into. I feel good. All right? I knew that I would. But what was revealed this morning, and it's going around the internet, and it's going around Facebook, and it's been on TV, is James Brown died of pneumonia. I mean, right, Lonnie? I mean, I keep checking that. I would check this out. James Brown died of pneumonia. She has pneumonia, so she plays I Feel Good. Just silly, all right? But she throws her staff. Let me get this, because I want to set this up for when Rick and Bruce get in here. She explains her pneumonia, and you may have to take a little bit to work this out, okay? Because you're going to say, well, wait a minute, this may sound insensitive. She explained her pneumonia the same way she explained Benghazi, the same way she explained her email server. I'm serious. Same way. It never changes. This is what this woman would do as President of the United States. So Benghazi, it was due to a video out there. It was due to a movie. Nothing was her fault. Nothing at all was her fault, okay, at all during Benghazi. Now, read the transcript of the FBI interviews with Pagliano, Cooper, Hillary, all right? Hillary kept saying that her emails, she deferred to the people sending them to her. You see, it was their responsibility to send her the emails with clear headings and clear classifications. So she deferred. She blamed everybody but herself. So what did she do yesterday with the pneumonia? Hey, Miss Clinton, you know, you knew Friday. We've got 6 different stories since Friday. Why didn't your campaign come out and tell us, you know, why didn't you tell us Friday or whatever? Why did you make up all these things? She deferred to the campaign staff doing it, not her. She was just home playing with the dogs. She had 2 or 3 days to reflect. And it made her get in contact with the actual American people. She just stopped and she thought, you know what? I have, and I'm afforded the ability to have 3 days to relax. But how many millions can't do that? They have to go get something over the counter because they don't have health care. And they can't afford to take off. And they have to keep powering through and pushing themselves. And I just stopped to think, wow, this is a serious problem. That's what she came up with for 3 days. That was it. Now, this morning, MSNBC, Morning Joe, all they're talking about is the birther. Donald Trump's a birther. I told you, they are already throwing the long balls. I made a reference early in the show. I made a reference and I said, what did I say? I said, when you're playing football, you might think this is silly and you might think, well, you know what? You go in with a game plan. My opinion is Hillary was never ahead in the polls. Exactly. Well, how do you explain August? How do you explain she was 3 points up in Georgia? I told you why she was 3 points up in Georgia. It's because everybody was over here at the lake. That's why. I told you why she was 3 points up in Georgia, because people were camping and people were fishing and people were on vacation and nobody was watching this. It was summer. We got 9 days left in summer and they're back to school. I'm going to tell you now, Hillary was never up in the polls. That's my opinion, just my opinion. She was never up in the polls. And this, every bit of this, do you not realize every single bit of this that you hear is to see if you could they could get you to turn on their channel, get you to tune into them, watch them. They have the excitement. They have the truth in the campaign. So how do you, remember we talked pivot. So how do you explain within 2 weeks, Donald Trump leads in Ohio, Donald Trump leads in Florida? You don't have to explain that, folks, because Donald Trump was leading in Ohio and Florida in August. They just didn't report it and they just didn't have it in the polling data. The samples were skewed. They did not have good samples. I mean, I don't even know how they exactly do all the polling now, but you guess what? If they do it they can't do it successfully with cell phones. And if they're looking for you to pick up the phone at the kitchen counter, you were not home. So I'm just telling you, I do not believe the polls have changed in Trump's direction. I just think the campaign is focusing in. Now, you have a game plan. Let's go to the sports analogy real quick. You have a game plan, and you want to win with the game plan, and you want to have a balance. You want to have a balanced running game. You want to put 200 yards on the ground, 200 yards in the air, okay? But when you get behind and you have to start having your quarterback air it out, because you got to start throwing the long ball, because you got to get back in this game. This thing's out of hand. What happens when you wake up on Saturday morning and you have 355 yards passing and you still lost the game? That directly says, I sit down with coaches all the time. When I see 400 yards passing and you still lost the game, you know what that tells me? That tells me the other team knocked you totally off your game plan and you had to just start launching it. Well, folks, that's what the Hillary Clinton campaign has done in the last 3 or 4 days. They are launching the long ball as hard and as fast as they can. I'm your host, BKP. Good morning from beautiful downtown Blue Ridge. I'm going to get Rick and Bruce in here for the conversation. We're going to take a brief break. We're at Sycamore Crossing. It is time for the Blues Train this afternoon. Blues and barbecue. Saturday all day. I will be up here all day Saturday. Are you coming up, Lonnie, or are you not coming up? You're not going to make it? Too bad. Too bad, Lonnie. You can't get barbecue, because who was that was last night we were talking about?
Oh, yeah. How was Angel Fire?
Angel Fire was, they put a chicken out. We had the kickoff last night. Fannin County Chamber of Commerce. We had the kickoff last night, and pretty good crowd. Nice packed crowd. Angel Fire, that's who they are, right, Lonnie? They were barbecue bacon sliders. Yeah, does that mess you up, Lonnie?
I had the Smoking in the Mountains.
Did you? Smoking in the Mountains?
With the Smoking in the Mountains 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
They had a bowl they came out with. They had a bowl. They had brisket, pork, baked beans, mac and cheese, and mashed potatoes all in a bowl. It was.
You know, the thing is you remember that.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You remember all the ingredients, everything that was in there, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
And the dog likes it. Why?
And the dog likes it.
Because the dog was sitting right here waiting, huh? Angel Fire will be there tomorrow all weekend long. They kicked off last night. Barbecue, blues all day. I will have a chair up here, the camera, and I'll have some fun. We'll talk about some high school football that's going on. A beautiful night for high school football. I'm your host, BKP. We get back, we're going to get a couple people in here, and I want to know, what is the campaign, the Hillary Clinton campaign? I've been wanting to say this, right? Hillary Clinton is the wings beneath Donald Trump's wings right now. I'm your host, BKP. Take us a break, Lonnie.